everyone. Welcome back to English Classes Online. My name is Benjamin. Today we are going to look at a very important question, very basic question. How much do you really know about English grammar? If you are new to this channel, kindly subscribe to the channel by clicking on the subscribe button below. Click on the bell icon as well so that whenever a new video is uploaded on the channel, you will be notified instantly. Let's dive into the lesson right away. What is grammar? Grammar can be defined as the basic rules that govern the use of language. Virtually everything in this world is governed by certain rules, and language is not an exception. So when we are looking at the rules that govern the use of language, we are looking at grammar, those basic rules that govern the use of language. Now, why should we study grammar? Learning grammar helps us to speak and write effectively. Of course, for those whose use of English is as a second language, it is important for you to learn grammar. That is why in various places where English is used as a second language or as a foreign language, people learn the use of English by learning the grammar, the English grammar. In the English class, right from the basic classes, you learn the rules of the language. And by learning the rules of language, then you master the use of the language. So learning grammar helps us to speak and write effectively. Of course, grammar, whether you have learned it at school or you have learned it in the speech community, growing up as a native speaker of the language, you have acquired the grammar all the same, because the language itself is governed by a set of rules, and that is why the grammar of the language has actually been described. You know, every child born in the English-speaking community grows up, speaking English by reason of being exposed to the sounds of the language first of all, and then, learning how to write the language, how to, represent those sounds with letters. So, learning aspects of the language enable us to speak and write effectively, all right? And, grammar enables us to communicate our ideas with clarity. Language is creative, and when we learn how to construct sentences, then of course we activate something in us that will enable us to generate different kinds of sentences that are similar, but different in construction. So learning the grammar helps us actually to become proficient in the use of the language. And that is why we should study grammar, all right? Now, what does grammar entail? Number one, grammar entails the way words are arranged in a sentence. That's one of the things that grammar includes. the way words are arranged in a sentence. Now, in writing, we need to arrange English words in their proper order. All right? And if we do not put English words or place them in their proper order, of course, we distort the meaning. Okay? Now, when we arrange English words in their proper order, we are able to express complete ideas. All right? And you ought to understand that it is the sentence that enables us to communicate complete ideas, to express complete thoughts. Now, let's look at the following sentence. Let's look at a sentence. Look at this sentence. Beautifully dressed Rose was. All right? Or beautifully Rose dressed was, Now, so if we place words in different order, all right? Beautifully dressed. You see, if you begin a sentence with beautifully, beautifully, for example, well, you can begin a sentence with beautifully if you put other words that follow in their proper order. All right? But when we look at the sentence or this group of words, we discover that these words are not placed in their proper order. Beautifully dressed, or let's say beautifully Rose dressed was. Now, does this really make sense? This expression doesn't really make sense. All right? So when we look at this particular expression, beautifully dressed Rose was, it doesn't convey complete meaning. Now, why? It doesn't convey complete meaning because the words that make up the expression are not properly arranged. So this shows that for us to express a complete idea, we have to arrange words in their proper in a proper order. All right. And so if we rearrange those words, what we have here is Rose was beautifully dressed. Rose was beautifully dressed. Okay. Rose was beautifully dressed. So, and when you look at it, then of course you discover Rose was beautifully dressed. All right. So you look at it, you discover that the structure of the sentence is now maintained. Rose is the subject followed by the verb, which is was. Beautifully dressed, beautifully dressed is the adjunct. No, is the complement, right? The complement is the description of the subject. Rose was beautifully dressed. So this sentence has a basic structure of the English sentence, which is SVC or SVO or SVA. Now, the subject is the doer of the action expressed by the verb in a sentence, or the subject is the person or thing being talked about. So it begins the sentence in a declarative sentence, all right, where you are uttering a statement. So the way words are arranged in a sentence, that is one of the things that grammar, is all about. And talking about the various elements within the sentence, then we have the subject, the verb, we have the object, we have the complement, and we have the adjunct. These are the 5 elements of the sentence. If you check the description section or you browse the entire channel here, you will find a video that gives you a detailed explanation about these elements of the sentence, all right, and how they are used, or the roles they play within the sentence structure, all right. Now, the second thing that grammar entails is the rules for spelling, punctuation, and capitalization. All right. In speaking, of course, we pronounce words clearly. We also use pauses, gestures, stress, and intonation to convey our intended meaning more clearly. All right. So if you, when we speak, we articulate the sounds of English words for people to really understand what we are saying. In writing, however, we must write words correctly. In this case, we have to ensure that we use the correct spelling of the words. All right? Then another thing that is important in grammar is punctuation. We use punctuation marks to indicate where we have a break, such as where you have a comma or you have a full stop, all right? And we also use capitalization, to show when we begin a sentence and to show where we are using a proper noun and so on and so forth. All right, so these are all aspects of English grammar that are very important when it comes to conveying our thoughts very clearly, especially in writing. All right. Now, the third important thing that grammar includes is rules about usage. Whether we are speaking or writing, our aim is to express complete ideas and be able to make our message clear to our listeners or readers. If we have to do this, we must observe certain rules about usage, all right? So these 3 basic things are the things that grammar includes, all right? Now, let's look at some short exercises and test how much we really know about English grammar. So now listen to this, or you can pause and you read this particular, you read these exercises. Let's begin with exercise A. The following groups of words do not make sense. All right. So here we are looking at, the arrangement of words within a sentence. That's one aspect of grammar that we talked about. Now let's look at how much you know about arranging words correctly in English sentences. So rearrange the words into meaningful sentences. Let's look at the first one. Last night from Kano returned Cain. All right. Now, how do we, I want you to look at it. Last night from Kano returned Cain. Take your paper and your pen and try to arrange the words in this sentence. All right. Then the second one, to walk on his way this morning, an accident had Uncle mine. All right. So these words are not in their proper order and therefore do not make sense. So I want you to think about, the way these words ought to be arranged to make a meaningful sentence. Attempt arranging them in a meaningful sentence, and then we shall be back to do a correction. Now, attend on Friday will you the seminar. Now, we have three, short exercises testing your knowledge about, arrangement of words within the sentence structure. How much do you really know about the English word order? So try to do this short exercise, and then we take a break for you to do that. And then when I am back, then we look at it together, and then we rearrange the words together and see how it goes. So stick around, I will be right back. So welcome back. Let's look at how these words can be arranged in their proper order. All right. Now, we looked at the structure of the sentence, and because this is expected to be, uh, a statement, so it ought to begin with the subject. I want you to take a look at the words. Among the words, which one is the subject here? So you can see that the subject is Cain. All right. The subject is Cain. So we begin this sentence with Cain. All right. Then followed by the verb. The verb here is returned. All right. Cain returned from Kano last night. All right. Cain returned from Kano last night. And look at the three sentences. Cain returned from Kano. Last night. Okay. So here you can see exactly the structure of the sentence. Cain is the subject. Returned is the verb. From Kano is an adjunct. And last night is also an adjunct. So what do we have here? This is the subject. This is the verb. This is the adjunct. And this is another adjunct. Okay, so here we have a sentence that has the structure of SVAA. SVAA. All right, that is the structure of this particular sentence. All right. Now we take the second one. To work on his way this morning, an accident had Uncle Mai. All right. Again, here you can see. Let's see if we can use this place so that we don't have to move over to a new page and come back. So let's look at this, okay? Now, we have to begin with the subjects. And my subject here is my uncle, okay? Followed by the verb, and the verb here is had. An accident. On his way to work this morning. All right, so you can see exactly how we reconstruct this sentence. My uncle had an accident on his way to work this morning. Well, let's try to look at the so let's look at the structure of this sentence. All right. My uncle had an accident on his way to work this morning. All right. Then I want you to observe the punctuation and capitalization. All right. Now look at this, the structure of the sentence. My uncle is the subject. Had is the verb. An accident is the object. On his way to work is an adjunct, and this morning is also an adjunct. All right. So looking at this, you will find that every English sentence has a definite structure, and the way we arrange words within the sentence must follow this structure, must be in line with this structure. All right. The subject followed by the verb, then the object, the adjunct, and of course, if you have a complement in a sentence, you will find it also occupying its normal position. So we have the structure of a sentence, which is S, V, O, C, A. So the way we arrange words in a sentence have to be in line with this word order. Of course, there are exceptions to this rule, and that is when you ask a question, for instance, all right? Did my uncle have an accident on his way to work? If we ask a question, then we can begin with the verb. The verb comes before at the third exercise. All right, we look at the third exercise. Attend on Friday, will you, the seminar. Of course, you can see that this is a question, and as a question, it has a different structure. Now, when you ask a question, in most cases, the verb comes before the subject. And then where you have so here we find our sentence number 3, and let's look at it. Will you attend? You can see here that this is an auxiliary verb. Will you attend? You here is the subject. Now, this is the auxiliary verb. Let's represent this by ox. So you can see an exception to the rule here. And then this is a main verb. All right. So let's represent this with MV. Okay, so we can see that the verbal elements are, are broke into two. They are divided into two, and the subject comes in between the auxiliary verb and the main verb. All right. Then the seminar here is the object. And then on Friday is the adjunct. Okay, is the adjunct. So here we have the structure we have here is well, let's just represent this by verb, subject, object, adjunct, without trying to break the verb into smaller pieces. Well, we know that the verb begins here, so we begin the structure with the verb. All right. So here we have the verb, the subject, the object, and the adjunct, instead of having the subject, the verb, and the object. So a statement has the SVO structure, but a question has the VSO structure. All right. Or let's put it this way. Okay. Well, I think something is missing in our analysis here. I think it will be proper to put this as verb, subject, verb, object, adjunct. You can see, because both will and attend are all verb elements, or verbal elements, if you like. So we can look at the structure of this sentence as VSVOA, all right? Even though it is arguable, because the verb is just one. When you look at will attend, is just one verbal phrase. But because the subject comes between will and attend, I'm just putting this to let you know what is possible. All right, just to recognize the two verbal elements. All right, so but when we have a normal sentence or a statement, then of course you will attend the seminar on Friday, won't you? You will attend. So you can see will attend. It's always the two elements are always together. So we have been able to look at this exercise A. Number one, last night from Kano returned Kane. The correct arrangement is Kane returned from Kano last night. All right, Kane returned from Kano last night. So I want you to look at your own arrangement on your paper, and if you got it right, you can tick it good to show that you got it correctly. If not, then you make the correction. Then number two, we have to work on his way this morning, an accident had Uncle Ma. Now, the actual arrangement is my uncle had an accident on his way to work this morning. My uncle had an accident on his way to work this morning. So if you actually arrange it in this way, then you can tick it. That is the correct arrangement. Of course, I have already explained to you the rules that govern this arrangement. Then the third one, attend on Friday, will you, the seminar? Now, this is a question, and the correct arrangement is, will you attend the seminar on Friday? All right, so that brings us to the end of exercise A. Now, we move on to exercise B. Now, exercise B, add the correct punctuation to complete the meaning and make each group of words a statement or a question, as the case may be. Now, the first one here is Lagos is a city in Nigeria. So you need to find the appropriate question, the appropriate punctuation mark there. Number two, have you completed your assignment? And number three, where did you park the car? Now, let's have a short break and make sure you do this exercise. Write the correct answers on a sheet of paper. I'll be right back to give you the correct answers. Now, welcome back. Let's look at the exercise again. This is exercise B. Add the correct punctuation to complete the meaning and make each group of words a statement or a question, as the case may be. Now, the first one is Lagos is a city in Nigeria. Now, this is a statement, and so it has to end with a full stop. Now, we have different types of sentences in English, and different types of sentences can be according to the structure or according to the function. Now, when we classify sentences according to function, then some sentences are called declarative. All right, you have declarative sentence, you have declarative, that's number one. Now, a declarative sentence is a statement, all right? And that is what this one is. Then you have another type of sentence, which is interrogative. An interrogative interrogative sentence is a question. And then we have subclasses of questions. We have the yes and no question, which is called a polar question. And then we have the WH question, which is a non-polar question. All right? So, and then we have other types of sentences, such as an imperative sentence, which is a command, an exclamatory sentence, which is an interjection, a sentence that expresses one's feelings. Then you have the optative. Now, you will check the description section or browse through the entire channel here. You will find videos on types of sentences. All right, so now let's look at the second one. Have you completed your assignment? This is a question, and of course, it has to be the question mark. Now, the third one, of course, I want you to check what you have done. You know, if you have done the exercise, if you got this like this, if you ended this with a full stop, then you have to mark it good. If you ended this with a question mark, you have to tick it good as well. Now, the third one, where did you park the car? Now, this is also a question, so it has to end with the question mark. All right? So if you ended this with a question mark, then you tick it as well. Now, I have to mention here that in speaking, we use intonation or tones, if you like, to indicate whether it is a sentence or a question. Now, this is a statement, for example, so we express this with a falling tone. Lagos is a city in Nigeria, a falling tone. Now, because this is a question and specifically a yes or no question, it has to end with the rising tone. So in a yes or no question, we use the rising tone. Have you completed your assignment? Rising tone. That indicates we are asking a yes or no question. Then the third one, we use the falling tone when speaking. Where did you park the car? Because this is a WH question, it ends with a falling tone, all right? Identify the usage mistake. Identify the usage mistake in each sentence, and then rewrite the sentence correctly. All right? Dad gave my sister and I some money. Now, you need to understand that there are some usage mistakes. Then the second one, this is number one. Number two, John visited us and gives us 2 loaves of bread. Number three, me and my brother goes to school together. Identify the usage mistake. Number 4, Rose have already went to the market. Number 5, Junior don't go to school anytime it rains. All right, so we will pause for a while. We will have a short break for you to do this exercise. Write your answers on a sheet of paper, and I'll be right back to give you the correct answers. So stick around. I'll be right back. Now, welcome back. We want to take a look at this exercise, exercise C. Now, we are asked to identify the usage mistake in each sentence and then rewrite the sentence correctly. Let's begin with sentence 1. Dad gave my sister and I some money. The usage mistake here is the use of I instead of me. Now, you have to understand that I is a subjective pronoun. Me is an objective pronoun. Now, Dad gave my sister and me some money. Now, when a pronoun is receiving something, then you use the objective form. And if we remove my sister and, then it becomes obvious that what should be here is me and not I. Now, if we remove if we remove my sister and, all right, if we remove my sister and, then all we have here is I. And can you imagine a sentence that is like this? That gave I some money. Does it make sense? It doesn't. All right. So that shows we need the objective form of I, which is me. That gave me some money. And so if we add my sister, that gave my sister and me some money. All right. Now, number 2, John visited us and gives us 2 loaves of bread. Now, the usage mistake here has to do with the use of the present tense instead of the past tense. Now, you will find a video on sequence of tenses if you check or browse through this channel. You will find a video with the title Sequence of Tenses in English. Now, that is the rule that is violated here. The first rule in sequence of tenses is that where you have the past tense of the verb in a main clause, then the next clause has also to be in the past tense. And even if it is a compound sentence as we have here, now the tense of the verb here has to agree with the first one. Visited is past. John visited us. Shows us that the action took place in the past. And then gave us. So you can see that the correct thing here is gave. John visited us and gave us. All right, so I want you to look at these ones, and any of them that you got correct, you tick it good. Then this third one, me and my brother goes to school together. Now, the first usage mistake is beginning the sentence with me. All right. Because here you discover that the subjective form of me is I. And when, when the pronoun is performing an action, you use the subjective form. When the pronoun is receiving an action, then we use the objective form, just as explained earlier in the first example. Now, so this is the first usage mistake, beginning with me instead of I. And then the second one is that where you have, the first person pronoun together with any other pronoun or noun in a sentence, then the first person pronoun comes after that first one. So what we have here is my brother should come first. All right. So my brother should come first, followed by I. So you have to say my brother and I. Then the third usage mistake is the use of goes, because where we have a plural subject, then we should have a plural verb. So instead of goes, we have go. My brother and I go to school. So let's look at number 4. So if you got it right, you tick it. Rose have already went to school. The first usage mistake here is have. Rose is a singular subject and must be followed by a singular verb. Rose has already, then gone instead of went. Has already gone to school. Okay, gone to the marketplace. So if you got it right, you tick it. Then the next one, Junior doesn't Junior doesn't go to school anytime it rains. Please take note, this is just S. So tick it if you got it right. So, and this is where we are going to draw the curtain in today's video. All right, so if you enjoyed the video, like the video and share the video with your friends and relations. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and activate the notification system so that whenever a new video is uploaded on the channel, you will be instantly notified. If you have any questions, any comments, any suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. I want to say a big thank you to all of you for being part of today's episode. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye-bye for now and remain blessed. Many thanks for watching today's video. A big thank you to all of you out there for being part of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, kindly subscribe to this channel. Subscribe now as a way of giving us support. For notification about new videos, click on the bell icon. You will find the bell icon. Click on it so that whenever a new video is uploaded, you will be instantly notified. If you have actually enjoyed the video, like and share the video with your friends and relatives. This is very important. If you have any comments, leave your comments below. Any questions, any suggestions, we would gladly receive them and respond promptly and positively to them. See you in the next video. I look forward to always seeing you